Hello, this is Hunter McDermott with another episode of Guitar Blog. It is 8:54 p.m. Saturday, March 21st, 2020. This is episode 27. So I got a Jazzmaster. I was thinking about it, and I sold that D'Angelico I had, and I picked this one up. This is an American original, and it has been a headache, but sort of like a fun project and at the same time. So I did a lot of reading about Jazzmasters before I picked one up. I played a few, and I really like the idea of it, that at least as the story goes, it's Leo Fender's answer to the archtop. Back in the late 50s, wanting to create like a new top tier guitar to compete with the archtops and try to lure in the jazz players, which of course didn't happen, but was a neat idea. And I think it's cool because you've got this kind of, it's a solid body guitar, but it has this bridge that's kind of floating, like it would be on an archtop. It would just sort of sit against the body, and then the strings would hold it down. Well, that's basically the same thing that happens here. It is slotted, so it sits in there, but it's not attached in any way outside of the string tension. So that means you got this great big area post bridge that leads down to this tremolo. Now the tremolo is kind of curious to me because archtops don't have tremolos. Maybe that was just like something that he knew he could do that you couldn't do very easily on an archtop, and so that was like an added feature. I don't really know. You don't hear jazz guys using a tremolo all that often in the event that they have one, but that's neither here nor there. It's neat to have. I've had a Strat style tremolo on a guitar before. I've had a Bigsby style, and I've now have this Jazzmaster style or Jaguar style. Same thing. It's neat. It's cool. It's not something I probably will use all that often, but it's neat to have. I've got it set up just right so the lock is actually working like it's supposed to. But yeah, it's been sort of an adventure. I had read a lot about him and heard that the expectation, being that it was supposed to be a jazz guitar, was that you would expect to have heavy gauge flat wound strings put on it, as jazz players typically often like. But of course, players in the intervening years don't play it for jazz, so it came with tens on it, round wound tens. And was sort of set up for that. And so I immediately took those off and stuck some heavy gauge flat wound strings on it, which required some neck adjustments. And then the bridge really just gave me a lot of trouble. And I had read about it. I knew the bridges were much maligned. But I thought, well, it was designed with these types of strings in mind. I'm sure I can finagle it. Maybe I won't love it, but I'm sure it'll work, right? It was designed to work. It doesn't work, at least in my experience. There was no way to get the neck straight, action low bridge set correctly to where the string wasn't hitting one of the... so it's got like a saddle and then this screw that goes in there that can help you adjust the height of the saddle. And the screw juts out and the string will hit it and it'll buzz or just deaden the string altogether. And you can kind of sidestep it by sliding it into one of the other saddle slots, because it's got like a ribbed top that's got a bunch of different slots in it. But then you kind of mess up your string spacing, and it feels weird if you're doing any kind of picking. And anyway, anticipating this eventuality, I tried. I tried to make it work. I'm not a luthier, but I did everything I could do and read a lot about it. And I just couldn't make it work for me. So I picked up a Mastery bridge, which is an aftermarket thing that is very common on these. You can go to the internet and search for pictures of Jazzmasters, and a large margin of them will have a different bridge on it than what it comes with. Either a Mustang bridge, which is very common to swap them out, or a Mastery bridge, or like a Stay Trim. There are a bunch of different ones. But almost nobody uses the stock bridge because, in my experience, I can now say it is garbage. It sucks, and they should fix it. But if you're building an instrument that is supposed to be the American original, then you got to put all the original style stuff on it. even though the neck radius is actually different than it was on the old ones. Anyway, so yeah, I put this bridge on there, and it was like night and day. It was like wrestling with it, trying to get everything right, not being able to get it to sit level and be flexible for the tremolo, because it's kind of supposed to sit when you set it up level, and then the bridge kind of rocks back and forth, and that's cool with the tremolo. But I couldn't get it to sit level and be set up. It was always kind of at an angle in order to avoid those saddle screws. And that's after intonating it and getting it where I wanted it to be from that standpoint. So that sucks, but was not a total surprise. But at least now I'm informed about, why it sucks. I'm not just going to buy into the what people talk about. I now know from personal experience. Another thing I did and feels a little weird that I kind of had to do was I shimmed the neck. Now, supposedly Leo Fender with the bolt-on neck style had neck shims in mind. Unlike a Gibson style guitar with a set neck, you've got full access. You can pull the neck of the guitar off and shim it to make these adjustments. And like a Gibson style guitar, you've got like the neck that's going to be at kind of this angle, and then the body of the guitar is going to be more at this like straight angle. So then the strings go up across the body because the bodies are often arched. Even though like a Les Paul is not considered an arch top, it has an arched top. So in order to get the strings to clear that, they have to angle the neck down so that the strings go up higher, and then you just raise the pickups and then the bridge to compensate. And then that's basically an arch top style guitar. So this was set up completely straight on the neck, and it had no angle at all. So when you crank the bridge down all the way with your neck straight, which I like to aim for a straight neck for low action playability standpoint. You can't get the action any lower at the higher frets. It sits. It's just too flat, and it won't give you. It like, I don't know. Can't really illustrate. It almost becomes like a U, even though the neck is straight. You can't get the strings level and low enough at that top part. So the solution is to angle the neck by shimming it a little bit. So I picked up some nice shims that are like full pocket shims, rather than just cutting a business card like some folks do. It's supposed to be better. We'll see. It is also fixing a lot of problems. Getting the neck angle allows me to get my action a lot lower up at the high frets and still keep from buzzing, in combination with the nicer bridge. So, having made some modifications, I'm now very happy with this. I like the tone of it. I think it's neat that it's like a single coil, but it's got kind of a warmer tone. It's got the rhythm circuit as well, which is a little bit warmer, a little darker, whatever you want to call it. Rolls off some of the treble. So that's cool. And even though that was, it's been like a money pit, and with all the stuff that's happening now, it feels completely irresponsible to have put money into this right now. But I did sell that other guitar, so I'm trying to make myself feel better about it, and it's given me something to do. So anyway, that's good. So that sucks that I had to kind of do that stuff in order to get it to where I feel like it's just playable with the strings that I want. But it has been fun to learn how to do some of this stuff. Like, I've done setups of my own electric guitars before, but I've never had a guitar that had the truss rod access underneath the pick guard. So there's no way to access it up here as I'm accustomed to, so you have to take the neck off and make that adjustment. And that's something I hadn't done before, and now I have done a lot of times. So that's cool. I'm no longer afraid of that. Making pickups to adjustments to pickup height, adjusting string radius at the bridge is something I hadn't really ever done before. Adjusting the tremolo, not that it's hard, but something new. Getting all the intonation and everything. It's been cool. So it's a nice guitar. This is American original, so it's got the rhythm circuit, the original Alnico pickups, I think. It's got a bound fretboard, which is nice, kind of a nice touch, and I just love the way it looks. It's got it's got kind of a classic look to it, even though it's not used by a lot of jazz guys. The sunburst and the tortoise shell and the big fat white pickup covers is cool. I like it. So yeah, they've got like an American. So my Telly is an American Professional, which has a slimmer neck and like a satin finish, so it's a little bit less sticky on the back and thinner, so it feels a little bit, I don't know if that's, I don't want to say better, but it feels different, I guess. This feels different, but not bad. It's just a lot thicker than what I'm used to, but I'm certainly able to play everything the way I normally play it, so that's good. And it's got like the vintage style slotted tuners. The American Ultra, well, so I didn't go for the American Professional Jazzmaster because it did away with the rhythm circuit, and I felt like if I'm going to get a Jazzmaster, it should be a Jazzmaster and have all the stuff on it that an original one would have, which is the same reason I didn't go for the American Ultra, which is kind of like their souped up Jazzmaster. It has locking tuner, better tuners. It's got this truss rod access here. It's got like some interesting body adjustments to the back to kind of be more comfortable or allow greater access. I don't know why you need greater access. I can access higher frets perfectly fine on an original Jazzmaster. Anyway, but then it's got this crazy switching system where like the rhythm circuit is there, but it doesn't do the same thing that the classic Jazzmaster does. It's got 3 dials instead of 2, one of which is also a button, which like swaps how everything works. Then you got the 3-way switch that also does some stuff. It's just crazy, and seemed like overkill for me, and you know, wanting to get something that's kind of classic or standard or original. Yeah, so that's that. I think it's been cool messing around with it. So I think a couple things. I'm going to do some playing, and I'll talk a little bit at the end. But the last thing I want to say before that, I think, is I found a really great musician named Madison Cunningham. Maybe you have heard of her. She's starting to become popular. She's been associated with Andrew Bird and Chris Thile and those folks. I think like John Mayer sent a lot of his people to go check her out recently. But anyway, she's fantastic. There's this really great paced session that she does in their studio you can check out on YouTube, and I think you'll get hooked right away. It's not strictly jazz, but it's a wonderful combination. Actually, she plays a Jazzmaster, but she plays she's got this great tone that's kind of like Julian Lage. It's like distorted. She's got this vibrato going on, like a vibrato pedal it's got this warbly, like distortion and vibrato / tremolo effects are just my favorite combination. I love that kind of dirty, warbly sound. She just nails it. So she's got really great songwriting style, and she plays interesting parts. She messes with different tunings and stuff, and her tone is fucking killer, and her voice is amazing, and I love the lyrics, and it's just like, I don't come across people that have kind of all those things going for them at the same time, and so I thought I would point that out. Check that out. Even like the production of the record is good, and the other musicians have interesting parts on the record as well, so I think you'll enjoy it. Maddie Cunningham, M-A-D-I. Okay, so I'm going to play us out with Stella by Starlight. I've got this little chord melody arrangement, and then I'll take some solos just so you can hear the guitar. And then I'll talk a little bit at the end, and then we'll call it. So here we go. Here's Stella. Cool. So thank you all for watching. A lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, and I hope everybody is doing well out there, wherever you happen to be. Um, Please do what is asked of you. If you can stay at home, please do. If you can stay away from others, please do. And I think we have a chance of beating this thing. But anyway, thank you for watching. Enjoy yourselves. Stay healthy. And I will see you all when I see you. Take care. Bye-bye.